With The Secret Life of Pets 2 now out in theaters, Illumination Entertainment now has 10 films underneath their belt. So let's rank these films from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name is Justin and I love to watch movies. If you guys love to watch movies too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification so you guys don't miss any of my up and coming videos. Today we're going to talk about all 10 of the Illumination films. The ones with the minions and the bright colors. Now I don't have a strong connection to the Illumination films. Even their best movie is not one of my favorite anime movies of all time. I like Pixar a lot more, Studio Ghibli, even DreamWorks is better than Illumination Entertainment. So this list is not a list of these are the best movies ever. This is just a movie of these are average animation movies, and one of them has live action in it. Comment down below with how you would rank all 10 of these movies, including The Secret Life of Pets 2, which is their most recent one, and Despicable Me, which is their very first film. So let's start this list off with number 10, Hop. Hop isn't Illumination's first film. It paired a lazy human played by James Marsden and a bunny who was in line to become the Easter Bunny, but wants to rock and roll instead. This is easily Illumination's least entertaining film. Neither James Marsden or E.B. the Bunny, voiced by Russell Brand, are characters worth watching. The writing for them is so bare bones, and it could have worked if it went in a different direction. If they gave any of these characters any ambition at all, it would have been a fun time to watch. But Hop is a film that has cute characters, but it is a forgettable film that isn't funny and is filled with bland characters, and that is why it sits at number 10. Coming at number 9 is The Secret Life of Pets 2, the most recent film. This doesn't even feel like a full film to me. It feels more like a few sketches here and there compiled together for one film. It's like if they took all these little different sketches and put it into a Netflix little short series, this is what it would be like. And there's like 3 different storylines going on in this movie, and none of them feel that important to the overall plot. And each one of them is trying to fight for screen time, and the movie is really short too. You never felt connected to Max and his anxiety about taking care of this human, or Gidget trying to get this ball for Max. None of the storylines just felt big or grand. It just feels very mediocre at best. The animation still is really good. I don't mind the animation. The music choice is great. The overview city of New York is awesome. But when it comes down to it, it's the story and just the average moments that never really work in this movie. Coming in at number 8 is The Secret Life of Pets. The Secret Life of Pets could have been a great film. It is filled with adorable characters and a great voice cast behind. You got Louis C.K., Eric Stonestreet. You have Kevin Hart in this movie. This movie could have been fun. But it never felt like a full film, just like I mentioned for Secret Life of Pets 2. A good majority of this movie feels like skits into one movie. The film spends too much time on one gag when it adds nothing to the overall plot. And once we get to the plot, the story feels borrowed. Nothing about The Secret Life of Pets feels original. I remember seeing this movie in Hawaii on my honeymoon and just thinking, this is like Toy Story. And that brings this movie down. The cute characters, the fun voice acting still isn't enough to make me appreciate this movie. Coming in number 7 is Sing. Sing is a very entertaining film. It's got a lot of great music in it, and it does have some fun characters. There are some characters that are developed nicely. There are some characters that aren't as developed nicely. But I think this movie focuses a little too much on music. I know it is a musical competition movie, but it trades in some music for the storyline, which I think could have benefited this movie a little more if some of the other characters, or some of even the main characters, did get more story to them. Regardless, I do think this is an entertaining film. The music choice is great, the animation is great. Overall, it's a fun film that could have been a little bit better, but still entertaining. Coming in at number 6 is Minions. The Minions were some of the best parts of the Despicable Me movies. They were odd and always made me laugh. They were in small dosage in those films, but in the Minions movie, they get most of the movie to themselves. While I do find the Minions to be funny, the humor from them is a bit drawn out in this movie. There was a point in the movie where I just did not find them to be that funny. And we also had a villain who was voiced by Sandra Bullock, who just wasn't very interesting as well. So you have all these down moments from the minions that aren't funny, and then it's covered up with a villain that's not very interesting. This movie would have been higher on the list if that villain was interesting, and it would have been entertaining. So those boring scenes with the minions would have been okay because you had a strong villain, but the villain wasn't very strong, so it made all the movie and those dull moments to be not that fun. But this movie ended up being bland at times and forgettable, and I think small dosage of the minions is just fine. A full film is not really what we need. Coming in number 5 is The Grinch. The Grinch is a story that I absolutely love. Jim Carrey's version is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. And this is the only Illumination film I've ever anticipated. While I didn't love this movie, I also didn't hate it. The film doesn't do much to make the Grinch seem mean or feared by the citizens of Whoville. The fun part of the Grinch story is everyone who is scared of the Grinch realizing that how nice he can be. That aspect of the Grinch is non-existent in this movie, which really brings this film down. See, I really would have loved to see the Grinch be feared, and then him realizing that people don't really care about him, and then everybody realizing who he really is. That would have been a really good moment in this movie. The film is entertaining enough for a few watches. Benedict Cumberbatch is good as the Grinch. The animation pops, it's bright, and the music choice in here is good as well. Coming in number 4 is The Lorax. The Lorax is one of my favorite Dr. Seuss stories. It's such a meaningful story, and I really like how simple that story is and the big message it has. Illumination adapted it well by also adding some new elements into the movie. The moments with the Onceler and the Lorax are easily the best since there is some good voice acting in it. It also has a strong message. The moments that don't involve the Onceler and the Lorax drag and aren't that interesting. The film tried too hard to make the Lorax and Zac Efron's character important to the story when it came off a bit forced. The original story did it in a simple way, it had such a strong message. You felt connected to these characters in that book, and the movie did an okay job of introducing these characters and you loving the Lorax and the Onceler and really feeling that message. But outside of that, with Zac Efron and Taylor Swift's character, you felt like it was a bit forced and they were trying to expand the story just a little bit more, and it just did not work. But besides that, I think Danny DeVito is great as the Lorax, and it is a fun film. Despicable Me 3 offered one of the best villains in the series, which was voiced by Trey Parker, who was an 80s child star who turned into a thief. His weapons are entertaining, and Balthazar Bratt delivers some of the funniest moments of the movie, which is mostly due to voice acting. Gru finds out that he has a twin brother and spends the film trying to get to know him. His interactions with his brothers are fun to watch because they are both very similar. There's also a lot of focus on Lucy trying to be a mom, just like there was a lot of focus in the second film of Gru trying to be a father to these 3 girls. This film unfortunately offers more fart jokes than ever before, and the film suffers from too much humor and not enough heart, something the first 2 films did a really good job at. Coming in number 2 is Despicable Me 2. Despicable Me 2 benefits from a strong relationship that was set up in the first film between Gru and these 3 young girls. It still paints a realistic picture of a man raising 3 young girls. Gru is still struggling to become a parent while his oldest daughter wants to start dating. Gru also has taken on a role as a consultant for the Anti-Villain League, which is definitely out of place for him, but it still suits him. He teams up with Agent Lucy Wilde, and the relationship grows into something more. It offers another strong emotional moments to this movie, just like the first film did with the 3 girls. Now we also see Gru starting to have feelings for this girl, Lucy. The villain is more on the weaker side though. El Macho doesn't really do much till the end of the film, which is a bit disappointing. So the movie does focus a lot more on Gru and Lucy's relationship and the 3 young girls, while it throws in this villain and the purple minions at the end to make it fun at the end, but I would like to see a little more of El Macho throughout the film. And coming at number 1, easily the best film, is Despicable Me 1. Illumination's first film is easily the best entry. Despicable Me introduced us to the goofy minions alongside Gru, a villain determined to steal the moon. Despicable Me is a very imaginative movie from its characters to its plot. Where the movie shines is Gru's attachment to the 3 young girls he ends up adopting. The progression from these 3 young girls and Gru's relationship is something sweet. because in the beginning he tries to use them to help steal the moon, but ends up loving these girls at the end, which is really sweet. I put this film off when it was first released, but I've grown to love it and appreciate the silliness of the movie as well as the strong characters, progressions, and relationships. Despicable Me is such a fun film and is easily Illumination's best film. So there you guys have it, all 10 Illumination films ranked worst to best. Like I said, I don't have a strong connection. This movie, Despicable Me, is easily their best franchise. Make sure to check out my review for The Secret Life of Pets 2 right over here. My name is JustinWatchesMovies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.